Hey guys, it's Mallory with Mallory Joe Mindfulness, and today we're going to talk about the 3 crucial mistakes we make when trying to make or break a habit. I just wanted to remind you guys that I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, or any other kind of trained professional. I teach from my own experiences and the observed experiences of others, and having said that, you're welcome to take my advice, love it, use it, and you're also welcome to completely ignore it. It's totally up to you. One of the most common misconceptions when it comes to changing a habit or any kind of transformation or journey is that you should hate where you are right now and use that as motivation to get to where you want to be. Please, please, please don't do this. Number 1, it's not nice to be really mean to yourself. Number 2, it's actually not very effective and it's going to hinder your progress in the long run. Now, for this mistake, I want to use the example of scripture study. As a missionary, I was able to study my scriptures daily for about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and it was amazing. I loved it. But when I came home, I started to slip into old habits and I didn't study my scriptures as often, and eventually I kind of fell out of the habit, and now studying my scriptures is a pretty intermittent habit for me. I know that this happens to a lot of return missionaries, and a lot of them tend to beat up on themselves. I did this too for a while, wondering, why can't I seem to prioritize this? I did it as a missionary. I know it's important. I know the benefits. Why am I not doing it? It's almost like we try to shame ourselves into feeling bad enough that we'll do it. But guess what? Shame doesn't drive consistent actions, and it doesn't bring the results that we want it to. Emotions like shame and judgment often lead to us doing things because of an obligation. We think, the church says I have to study my scriptures, so I better do it. The problem with this is when we feel obligated to do something, oftentimes we're left resentful. And that's not the point of studying our scriptures. That's not the point of doing the things that God asks us to do. We're supposed to do these things so we feel good, so that we can learn more, so that we can fully enjoy the blessings of the gospel. But when we do these things out of obligation, we're left feeling resentful, and it often leads to thoughts like, why does this church expect so much from me? Why is it so hard to have a relationship with God? And then we're left feeling frustrated and doubtful and not full of love and mercy. Now, when you're able to take out this layer of shame, telling yourself that you should be doing this because if you were a good person that you would, you're able to start doing things because they sound fun. You're able to start habits because they sound like they would be good for you and like you would enjoy them. When your reasoning is, I'm not a good person if I don't do this, or I won't be beautiful if I don't do this, or people won't like me if I don't do this, automatically creating this habit has become a burden for you. When really, it can be super fun. It doesn't have to be heavy and difficult, but it can be fun and just a new adventure. Mistake number 2, overestimating our abilities. Let's say you have a friend named Jane. Jane comes to you and she's like, so I started piano lessons a month ago and I'm really frustrated because I'm just not that good yet. I really thought I'd be able to play this piece by Mozart by now and I just can't, and I think I'm gonna quit. And obviously you respond to Jane and you're like, you're totally right, you should quit, you really suck at this. Obviously you don't say that. Obviously what you say is, that's okay, but Mozart is kind of a high bar. Maybe you should set a smaller goal first, but you'll get there eventually. Keep going, you've got this. My family has a motto that goes, if at first you don't succeed, quit. Usually this motto is said in jest when one of us comes home and is frustrated by something that we're bad at, but it was the very first time we'd ever tried it. And one of us will say, well, if at first you don't succeed, quit. This is to point out the hilarity in the fact that we expected ourselves to be really good at the thing the first time we did it. So how do we combat this mindset? Well, there's a couple things you can try. Let's take the example of yoga. Let's say you want to do yoga daily for 30 minutes. And so you decide, I'm gonna get up every morning at 7 a.m. and do my yoga because I know it's gonna help me feel good. Okay, awesome. But you're probably not gonna do it every day. And you also haven't been doing it at all. And so doing it every day for 30 minutes is kind of a big deal. Like, that's a big commitment. And so you decide, but I understand I'll probably miss some days and that's okay. I know when I miss a day, I'm just gonna pick myself back up and try again the next day. So that's one technique you can use. You're gonna do it every day, but you're gonna be really nice to yourself when you can't get it right 100% of the time. But the second technique is actually the one I like better. I learned it from Jody Moore this month in Be Bold, and she talks about setting really, really tiny goals that we know we can achieve. Now, here's the reason I like this better. It's because it builds your confidence. Because when I set a really small goal and I'm achieving it every day or every week, I'm like, dang girl, nice. I'm super proud of myself. But when I'm kind of failing at my goal 2 or 3 times a week, then I have to kind of be like, oh, well, it's okay. I'm human. But really, I feel kind of bad about myself. Here's the alternative with the yoga example. Let's say you're doing yoga 0 days of the week, but you decide you want to do it 30 minutes daily. What you can do is you can decide on Fridays, I'm gonna wake up at 7 a.m. and I'm gonna do yoga. And then every Friday when it comes, you know you can keep that commitment because it's just 1 day a week and you do it and you're like, dang, I'm awesome. And then you get to Tuesday and you're like, you know, I kind of feel like doing yoga tomorrow. And you set your alarm and you do it again on Wednesday. And then you see a gap in your Monday schedule and then you build momentum and it's awesome. And all of a sudden you're doing your goals daily. Now it doesn't really happen in like 2 weeks like that, but it happens. It'll take some time, but you'll get to the point where you're doing yoga daily. And it's just like a fun adventure instead of this heavy, difficult thing that you're like, must do this every day. So before you know it, you've achieved your goal without so much shame and self-deprecation. Mistake number 3, lack of commitment. So we're gonna look at breaking a habit in this example, even though the process is literally like exactly the same. Let's say you want to stop staying up so late. And so to combat this, you decide you're going to start going to bed earlier. And so you decide because you have an early class on Thursdays, you're gonna go to bed 30 minutes earlier on Wednesday nights. But you get to Wednesday night and you see a bunch of dishes in the sink and you're like, oh frick, I should do those dishes before you go to bed. But then you remember, wait, I go to bed early on Wednesday nights. I go to bed at 10:30 instead of 11. And then you're like, well, I could just do these dishes. But no, you committed. You committed to this goal of on Wednesdays, you go to bed at 10:30. And that's when commitment comes in, you leave the dishes in the sink and you go to bed. So when you make these small goals, it's a lot easier to fully commit yourself and you say, no matter what, I am going to do this. And you build your confidence, you build momentum, and you're able to start applying it other days of the week. But then you don't have to beat yourself up when you're not doing it every single day. And I promise something is better than nothing. Yoga twice a week is way better than no yoga at all during the week. For some reason, we fall into this habit of thinking that we have to be doing something every day or a certain amount for it to be worthwhile, but that is 1000% not true. Working out one time for 30 minutes throughout your week, way better than not working out at all the whole week. This is what I'm trying to show you guys. Set small, realistic goals, and I promise you'll pick up momentum and you'll be able to do it as much as you're wanting to. And now part of this commitment is committing to it even when you have setbacks. Often what happens when we have a goal is we think when we miss a day or something, or we've missed a couple days, or we miss a week, or we forget that we're doing it, that's a failure. But it's not. It's just part of the process, because when it's not working, you're able to go back to the drawing board, reevaluate, and try again. It's all part of the journey. None of it's a failure. None of it's really even a success. It's just part of making it happen. So as you're doing this, as you're starting and making your habits, I want you to take a look at these 3 mistakes and see if you're falling into the trap. See if you're beating up on yourself too much. See if your goal is kind of enormous and needs to take a little step back. See if you just weren't committed enough and you need to reevaluate, maybe again, make the goal smaller so you can be fully committed. Whatever it is, take a look at these mistakes. They're all written up in a blog post, and try and remind yourself, okay, I need to be nice to myself. Okay, I need to keep my goals small, and heck yeah, I'm so committed. We're in this for the long haul. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. That's all for today. I hope you're all doing super well. Comment below the habit you want to break or want to start, and let me know what you're gonna do about it. I'm so happy to be able to share this information with you guys because it's changed my life so much, and I just want to help you experience what I've experienced. I love you guys. Stay calm.